Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I want to thank Mr. Royce and Mr. Ingo for your bipartisan leadership and all my colleagues for their good work on these bills, which I support. I'd like to highlight too, just to following Mr. Yoho, I thank you for your sponsorship of H.R. 5105, the Build Act of 2018, and I thank the chair and ranking member for putting my amendment, which I'm going to talk about in the en bloc amendment. So I'm calling attention to a provision that urges the New Development Finance Corporation, which this bill establishes, to work to improve women's economic opportunities and outcomes and take steps to mitigate gender gaps, which are very, very significant. It also requires the corporation to measure development outcomes broken down on gender basis, tracking whether women are reaping the benefits of this support. Some of you may remember that a few weeks ago we unanimously passed out of this committee the Women's Entrepreneurship and Economic Empowerment Act, recognizing that when women are educated and given the tools for economic success, their communities are safer, stronger, and more peaceful. If women, who account for half the world's working age population, do not achieve their full economic potential, the global economy will suffer. And as the chairman said, I think it was last week, Mr. Royce, that advancing women's economic equality towards parity with men could add trillions, and I mean trillions and trillions of dollars to the global GDP in just 7 years. So this bill before us will allow the new corporation to empower women. I'll give you an example, like Manjula from India, who worked 15 years in a garment factory, long hours with barely any pay. She dreamed of starting her own business so she could buy a house, educate her daughter. The problem was she had no access to capital until she received a small loan from a microfinance institution supported by OPIC. And with that, not only did Manjula start her own factory, she created dozens of jobs, paying workers fairly so they can provide for their families and making their community more secure and peaceful. And stories like this showing that investing in women is not only humane, it's good economic sense. Trillions of dollars of economic sense. When, as I said this before, I'll say it again, when women succeed, the world succeeds. I also want to highlight and support H.R. 5141, U.S. Israel Security Assistance Authorization Act. Again, I'm going to compliment, as my colleagues did, Representatives Ross Layton and Deutsch. This bill recognizes Israel's right to defend itself and writes into law the continued cooperation between our two countries. With yesterday's decision from President Trump to withdraw the U.S. from the Iran nuclear agreement, ensuring our great friend and ally is safe and has all the resources it needs to protect itself is more important than ever. And when you look at the neighborhood, there is reason to be worried. Hamas in the Gaza rebuilding its rocket arsenal and calling for Israel's destruction. Iran's constructing its military bases in Syria. ISIS wreaks havoc in the Sinai, while Hezbollah in Lebanon points 150,000 missiles at Israel. So we must do all we can to strengthen Israel's defenses. And this important bill codifies the Memorandum of Understanding signed by the Obama administration with Israel, the largest U.S. military assistance package ever, and it also expands a U.S.-Israel cooperation in areas of mutual interest, like establishing a U.S.-Israel cybersecurity research and development grant program, and authorizing USAID to enter into an agreement with Israel to help lift low-income countries. In an increasingly polarized Washington, Israel can never be a partisan issue. Defending Israel is in our national security interest. So I urge support of all these measures, and I again thank everyone for the bipartisan support. I yield back, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.